Now, I'm going against what I said. Not even a week ago, I said y'all wasn't going to hear from me until I was done with this daggone NBA in a few weeks. But when I saw that video of what happened to that lady, that mother and her children in my hometown, I was triggered. I was upset. And I had so many thoughts and all of that. And so, yes, I am making a video about with my 2 cents commentary for what it's worth. I have a lot of things to say, and I will start this with saying that I believe, because of the woman I am, being a believer in everything, it's a spiritual thing. And what we saw, that kind of wickedness, that kind of violence, was absolute demonic, right? If you believe that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience, the fact that the evil one was able to go through these children, to do such vile things, to be physically harmful to a mother and her children, to rally and gather up and to group up and to torture and to record it. And I was reminded, and here's the very, 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 very unfortunate part of that video. First of all, that's not the first time that's happened in that neighborhood with those children. That's the one that's recorded. This isn't something that's new. And these are grade school children. And even more so, not just the activity with them in that neighborhood, and that's not new. But I'm gonna rewind for you all. Picture it. Somewhere about 1987, 88. West side of Chicago, where I'm born and raised. At that time, we were living in K-Town, off of 15th and Karloff. And then we moved to 19th and Kaminsky. And moving over there in K-Town was such a shock to my system, because those were the years I was in grade school, from 4th through 6th grade. Let me tell you what it was like. So now I done told y'all my age essentially, and I don't care, because I have a point, and I really hope that you guys will listen to what I'm saying. So Mason Elementary was in the heart of K-Town. We're talking about in the height of the crack era. It's a lot of things going on at that time. And the school in the neighborhood that I had moved from in the Lawndale community, it's all ghetto. It's, you know what I'm saying? But in that environment, it was, I was nurtured. There was no violent activity in that school. And it was just night and day. So when my mother moved to K-Town with us, we're in this monstrosity of a school. I mean, in terms of size, it was massive. And so for the first time in my life in the Chicago public schools, I am in oversized classrooms. I'm in classes where it's like at least 40 kids. And in these classes, there are children that are below reading level and much older. So in my 5th grade class, I remember there was a guy named Charles. How do I remember stuff like this? Because again, trauma, you remember. We're talking about guys that were, I remember David Lenore and a guy named Charles. These guys were like 13. They were almost graduate on it. They should be in 8th grade, but they were holding these kids back. They were in 5th and 6th grade, 13, 14 years old. Yeah. And they pretty much would resign them to the back of the classroom, and they got to do whatever the heck they wanted to. I remember Miss McClendon, and I forgot what the man, what's his name, Mr. Houston. Though they could not tame them kids. They couldn't. So here I was in this new school where if they ask questions and stuff for class, I'm used to raising my hand, being called on, and it being a normal practice for kids to participate in class. But when I do it, it's they you think you such and much. And so the new thing was for me to be threatened to be beat up after school. I was a tiny little thing. I ain't that much taller now. And I remember being so scared every day that I was going to have to fight somebody. It was so I had to fight people eventually. Now my mama, which was interesting, my mother, she's a petite thing, but she a fighter. My mother carried box cutters with her and stuff like that. And so when I realized that I was going to have to defend myself, I started taking my mama's box cutters with me. Now I'm in 4th and 5th grade, and I quickly had to catch on because I knew these kids meant business. And I mean, getting picked on by everybody. And it was something that I sensed in that atmosphere that I knew that these kids would make good on their threats to me. And there were kids small like me. There were kids that were much bigger than me. And it didn't matter. If you were the person that they was going to pick, they was going to pick on you. And darkness can detect light. Bullies can detect people that won't fight back, that don't have that thing on them. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to learn fast, and I was forced to have to defend myself. And it was the scariest thing in the world. Oh, there's more. It was traumatizing for me to have to go through that. And I remember the moment the bell rang, I would dash out and I would try to run through 2 buildings to get to my sister so we can hopefully make it walk, because everybody walked to and from school. Get home, and hopefully the bullies wouldn't get us. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, the reason why I was with fear and trembling is because of the fights that I witnessed. I had never seen nothing like it in my life. When people want to fight, what would happen is people would gather around in crowds so damn thick. And after a bunch of, back and forth, disrespectful words being said for a minute, the crowd gets tired. And then they just push y'all on each other. And the moment whoever fall into who, then everybody get to swinging. And I'm telling you, kids is going blow for blow for blow. I watched people tear clothes off each other. I will never forget that as long as I live. And so I have seen that level of violence with grade school children going all the way back to the 80s. Now, the only difference I would say is that I don't think no kid had the audacity or the spunk or whatever it is to think that they was going to beat the brakes off of a grown-up. I don't think they had gotten that far with it. I don't think they listen, and they could have had safety in numbers, but nobody got together and thought, oh, if I see Shanera and her sister and her mama out, I'm a come at them. I had never seen that part. But what I would say about this, them children in that video that jumped that lady, they are the grandkids of the children that I went to school with. What I'm saying is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. evil has turned up a notch. It is bolder. I don't even have a word. What's bigger than, what's bolder than bold? I don't know. Whatever the fancy word is for that. It has no shame. It has no boundaries. It will absolutely attack a mother and children in broad daylight and video it. And so I've saw discourse, with people saying, oh, yeah, they had been bullying the son, and they had reported it to the school, and the school had done nothing. Same. Mason Elementary, I don't know. Yeah, not taking the threats and the bullying of a child seriously. I don't know if it's a sentiment. I feel like sometimes what's underneath the ignoring of certain things within our communities is the fact that it's within our communities. I think the value of Black bodies is not even at a zero. It's at a negative. It's at a negative outside the Black community, and then in a lot of ways, and then within, right? Because where them children get it from? The children who were so brazen with the violence, right? Where are they getting it from? So many factors going into that. So one might argue it's the music. I would concur. At the time I was coming of age, I snuck. At least I was sneaking and listening to. I was listening to Too Short, that sort of thing. I will say this, at least in our household, it was not normalized for us to be allowed to listen to vile music. If there was media of any sort that was out there that was degrading, cussing and carrying on, the mentality in our household at the time, it wasn't like, well, they gonna hear it anyway, might as well. We didn't have none of that going on. Or even more so, we didn't hear the adults in our home, in our family, the ones who were rearing us. None of the adults enjoyed or took part in any kind of, if there was any kind of kind of crazy media, music or entertainment, if there was it, they didn't enjoy it. And so what I've seen is that people could be good on paper in terms of employment and doing the American dream chasing, right? But they still enjoy the trap music, the drill music. They'll still listen to that, but people don't see a correlation with media and what it does to the subconscious. They don't see that. So one could argue that the kids are exposed to that. But even more so, the biggest teachers that the children have, though, is what is in their home. So yes, those children deserve to be reprimanded. There should be repercussions for their behavior. But even more so is the people that are responsible for them. Because why is that? Oh, there should be. Children are not doing that out of their own volition unless it's a part of their environment. I think it also needs to be said, I believe the woman I think she pregnant. I felt some kind of way. I have not heard any discourse about, because she has small children. I've seen no discourse about the father of the children in this whole thing. There's no discourse. Where is the father? This woman is raising these children, apparently, it looks like, all on her own. And so, not only that, But where are the men in the family to advocate? Like, it shouldn't even be. It almost feels like, I'm like, when women are out here doing what they doing, trying to make it happen for themselves, it's like, man, are there people who give a damn about her to be like, huh, it's gonna be some furniture flipping, you know, some some slow singing and flower bringing, because I know good and hell well. Like, I feel like when the kids were talking about so and so bullying me, where the crazy uncles at? Grandpa. Like, I feel like she seemed so vulnerable, right? Her posture and everything about her seemed wide open and unprotected. And that disturbed me to see her that way. But there's so many sisters like that carrying that weight. There's so many sisters. I am single and vulnerable in a lot of ways. And in a lot of ways, I'm not. I just, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can feel like if I were disrespected, if I was, somebody put their hands on, who's going to come to my rescue? Who is going to be upset about it? Who is going, who? I felt that in that video. I did. I also thought, so there were people, the discourse was talking about, you know, what if man, I would have been arrested that day. Shoo, da 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 da. Now, I understand she was sick. It's obvious that she was weak physically or something like that. There was so much going on. And I thought to myself, so let me see. If I'm in her shoes and maybe I'm not sick, maybe I am physically capable. Now, I'm one of them people that you could I am very much like my mother, in that you ain't gonna just walk up on me and put your hands on me, because I'm always carrying something. I might not have my gun on me, but I'm gonna have something on me. I'm gonna have something on me, and if I get to it quick enough, somebody out the whole clan gonna feel something. That's my instinct. I would hope that I'm prepared for that, but that's me imagining that it's a grown up attacking me. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I would be so shocked if, for example, let's just say I was perusing with my niece and nephew, and we were walking, and one a group of children is accompanying one person that's been bullying the niece or the nephew. And I'm thinking, how we used to call it, we fighting heads up. Heads up is, let them do it. Don't nobody jump in it. That's my expectation. Okay? I would be thrown off if they scrapping and a whole mob of kids not only decides to mob and pummel my niece and nephew, and then they come for me. I would be so shocked, but then at the same time, I would be trying to calculate, because in my mind, I'm thinking, if I put the paws on one of these kids, or I use a tool on one of these kids, then they gonna come for me. So I'm like, people in the comments talking about, oh, this, that, and the third, I would have da 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 da. And I don't know if the laws of the land would have been in favor if she did. Now, I would hope so, because at that point, she's defending herself and she's defending her children. I would hope so. But I also know the laws of the land in general. For example, being a domestic violence survivor myself, there are women in jail who have been getting their ass beat for years. God forgive me. I just cussed. I cussed hard, but that was in my spirit. So No apologies. But nevertheless, you get the point. For years. And then the man tries to attack her one day at all this time, and then she delivers a death blow. She grabbed whatever's near, and she knocked him, literally puts his lights out. It could be a lamp, it could be a bat, it could be a gun, and they come and arrest her, and now she's serving time. There are laws in the land that do not favor women. They just don't. They don't favor. It's so weird to me. You have to always prove that you were in imminent danger. And so I'm thinking, yeah, we say this, that, and the third, but if we only had saw a video of that woman attacking and beating the brakes off a kid, the story would have looked very different. What if we had saw her, didn't see the mob of kids or her being attacked first, but we actually did see her fighting back, and that was the only video that we saw? Then people would not be, we would be quick on a, yeah, she had no right, da, 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 da. They would, the story would end different. So I think we need to watch our mouth and stop with the, I would have did this, that, and the third. You don't know what the hell you would have done. We don't really know. And God forbid, because of the ways, videos go viral and judgments are made, then we would have had a different situation. She could have been hurt just off a GP because the kids' mamas and parents and families would have been on her tail. So there's that. Yeah. I'm going to stop the video. I think I said enough. I'm going to post after this. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote called Ghetto Kids a few years ago that speaks to this. I think it speaks. If you listen to this poem that I'm going to post after this, you'll get what I'm saying. That out of 22 minutes now of me going on and on and on. Stay tuned. Stay prayed up.